Welcome to this week's episode of Your Stock Request for the 11th of April. Hi, I'm Michael Gable, Managing Director of Fairmont Equities. Your Stock Request is a weekly video where I take your requests and analyse the share price charts. So this week on the list we have CNU, KGN, ANZ, MOY and CWP. So if you have a request, make sure you email it through. Make sure you've signed up to our free newsletter. Share this video on social media. And just finally, remember any advice here is general only. So starting off with CNU, which is Chorus Limited. This is a weekly chart going back the last several years. As we can see, the long-term uptrend is still in place, so it's a sign of strength. However, if we just zoom in a bit more, what you'll notice is for a couple of years there, it was trading in a bit of a range. And that was a fairly long-term range. It went for a few years. So given that it's just broken out of that, it implies that we should see quite a bit more upside than what we've already seen. So the same old rule of long-term range, you get a breakout, you get a fairly powerful move. So the move since the breakout's been fairly powerful. I expect longer term for it to continue on. If we have a look at a daily chart, look in terms of the RSI, showing that it's quite overbought, but the way it's trading at the moment, it's still making its higher highs and higher lows. So, I think longer term still looks good, maybe a bit overbought, maybe a bit of weakness, but looks like one worth sticking with. Okay, moving on to Kogan, KGN. So I quite like the look of this one. We're seeing a bit of a breakout in the short term. So you've got this sort of impulsive move up here in January, then easing back on lower volume, and now it's starting to break higher again. So short term it looks bullish. I think this region here near about $4.70, as we could see, it's tagged it a few times. That'll be the key level for it. So I think a break of that could see even more upside. Okay, ANZ, we'll move to a weekly chart. If we're looking at, say, even if we only look at the peak from 2017, I mean, it's still in a downtrend. We've got these lower highs and lower lows, so not looking very good. If we just zoom in a bit more, I've noticed that 2650 seems to be, in the past it was a bit of a level for ANZ. And we could see just recently on this weekly candle that it's tried to go through it and failed. So look, I think the most likely path here for ANZ is still to the downside. I just can't see any evidence yet that it wants to rally. Okay, MOY, Millennium Minerals. Weekly chart, zooming out. Clearly there's a bit of a range here over the last year and a bit. But just watch out for these. Looks like it's making lower highs now, which is a bit of a concern. And looks like we're starting to get a lower low as well. So although at first glance there appears to be a bit of a range, it's starting to look fairly weak. So I think for the moment this one also most likely will head to the downside. Okay, and the last one's Cedar Woods, CWP. Since the beginning of January, very nice rally off the lows, good volume coming in. If we just move to a daily chart, this drop here at the end of March was an ex-div, but it's managed to recover, and it managed to not take out this prior low. So in other words, off the lows since early January, we've had higher highs, higher lows, good volume on the way up. I expect this one to continue heading higher. Okay, well that's it for today. If you have a request, make sure you send it through and make sure you've signed up to our free newsletter.